one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2 3. 1 2 3.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps cause they know what happens next. So without further ado,
Free smoke.
look. Scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much I have you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa Bars forever, like they decided to throw me under slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop 1,000,000 songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our blocks, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Winning has a price. And leadership has a price.
I'm coming. I promise you, on my life, I'm coming. From the first snap, man. From the first second. What are we gonna do, man? All back against the wall. All back is against the wall.
I'm ready for whatever right now.
You know, I feel it's times. I feel it's like it's these times in life where if you're not careful, if you're not paying attention, a stupid ass question can be asked. Like somebody can ask you a stupid ass question that you know is a stupid question. But you so busy. You in translation, you know, you moving, you doing things, you busy. Your mind is fluttered. They can ask you that stupid question and you can end up falling for it at times. We're here to talk about that today. Listen, welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Excuse me. You know what? I don't know why I don't say important shit off the top of the show. You know what I'm saying? Because more people is likely to listen to the beginning of the show than make it to the end of the show. Not because the content terrible. That's just how things work out. You know, sometimes people watch the beginning. They care not to see the end of the show. I get that. I'm not hating. If you watch the beginning of my shows and be like, I don't really feel like listening to them anymore. I get that. Every episode not going to be your cup of tea. Every episode not my cup of tea. I listen back at some of the episodes and be like, that was a rough one. I'm just honest with myself, bro. I'll be like, that was a rough one. But we got another episode for another day, so maybe I'm feeling that one. You know, I do want to speak on something, though. I was asked an insane question today. An insane question. All right. Today I was asked if Brock Purdy and the San Francisco, well, I was asked if Brock Purdy win, not if San Francisco. I was asked if Brock Purdy win the Super Bowl, will that make him an elite quarterback in my mind? And I know when Buddy asked me that question, he thought to himself, man, I'm asking this motherfucker a hell of a question. Like, he ain't going to be able to rebuttal this. And then a couple seconds later, he said, matter of fact, no. He said, I don't even care about that. He said, when Brock Purdy win this Super Bowl, do you consider him an elite quarterback? And then he said, but like if he throw for a lot of yards and yada, yada, yada. And I told him, I said, bro, he can throw for 500 fucking yards. I'm not calling Brock Purdy an elite quarterback, bro. One body of work is not going to get you there for me. Not to mention, why in God's name would I say all the shit that I done said about Brock Purdy and the 49ers and that randomly changed because they ended up winning the Super Bowl? And I understand the importance of the Super Bowl, but this is my problem at times. Sometimes we take that Super Bowl and we make it the end all be all. And while that is the most important goal in a season, when you look at a career, come on, bro. If Brock Purdy win one Super Bowl and the rest of his career play out terribly, is he a Hall of Famer? Is he elite? Like, some of these questions, yo, they baffle me. But listen, before we get into that, though, we are getting close to the end of the NFL season. Obviously, the end of the NFL season is this Sunday. So sad to watch it go. It seemed like just yesterday we got on here talking about the first game of the season. We was talking about C.J. Stroud going up against the Ravens, Lamar coming back from injury, his new contract, Justin Herbert, and would he live up to that contract finally? You know, with just so many things happen to start the season, man. So many things. I done been asked a couple times to do my biggest shockers of the season, things that surprised me, things I didn't expect to happen, things that I was wrong about, things that I was right about. Well, not too many people care about what I was right about. Everybody want to know what Saint got wrong. But, you know, I guess, I mean, it would be hard to make that into one video because I'm not going to remember everything that Saint got wrong. But, you know, over the course of the next couple shows, I'm going to just point out things that Saint. I already made the biggest thing I was wrong about was C.J. Stroud. Now, I didn't tell you that C.J. Stroud was going to be trash, but I said I'm not going to trust an Ohio State quarterback until I told you that Ohio State quarterback thing had nothing to do with Stroud. It had everything to do with the people who came before Stroud. And because none of them motherfuckers panned out to be anywhere near as good as they were in college, I was always going to hold my opinion on C.J. Stroud, bro. He was always going to have to prove me wrong. And while I never came out and said I thought he was going to be trash or nothing like that, I did not expect for him to do what he did this year for the simple reason I just don't trust Ohio State quarterbacks, bro. I don't. But, you know, that was the biggest thing I was probably. I mean, Baker Mayfield, I thought he was going to get benched at some point in time in the season. Little did I know that division was going to be that fucking trash. So, you know, I guess we could say I was wrong about that Baker Mayfield thing, but I don't really feel wrong about it. But then again, he made the Pro Bowl. Well, the Pro Bowl don't mean shit, but he made the Pro Bowl. He was around there cheesing it up at the Pro Bowl. Did his dance with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Bro, I saw somebody I can't remember who it was, but I saw somebody the other day say, I think it was when I was looking at the Marlon Humphrey podcast, where he was talking about how people be dyeing their hair and they gonna go bald quick or something like that. I done heard that multiple times, bro. Like when you dye your hair, you killing your hair. I don't dye my hair. When I had locks, I dyed like a couple of the tips, and not even the tips, bro, because I thought that was gay. I dyed like different areas of my locks, like a lightish brown. It got darker over time. But the majority of my hair, my locks were black. But they did have like, bro, I know somebody who got all blonde locks with red tips. It's crazy out here. I done seen green locks. I done seen purple. I done seen all kind of color locks, bro. And that is insane to me that people really do those crazy colors. You know, I be thinking to myself, bro, I'm truly not a fan, bro. And I'm never going to be, because it's just certain shit that I'm not doing. Like, I'm not dyeing my hair the color of my favorite sports team. I'm not dyeing my hair for no fucking reason other than I want to dye my hair and it's going to stay that way for. That's not happening, bro. I appreciate the black hair. I got gray hairs. I'm only 29. I got a gray hair in my mustache, a gray hair in my goatee. Luckily, none of my beard got gray hairs in it, but it'll probably pop up eventually. The whole left side of my hair, the part that I shave off most of the time, gray hair is all through it, bro. Like, you know, I saw somebody today tell people You know, the way that you know you're a beautiful person is if kids look at you for a long time and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, bro, no, the way you know you is a beautiful person is if you continue to remind yourself that every day. You build up your mental to understand nobody else gonna think you beautiful if you don't truly believe that in yourself. And 3, why the fuck is you consistently looking for validation from everybody else, bro? Haven't y'all learned that that's not gonna happen? Validation from other people not gonna make you feel good until you feel good about yourself, bro. I don't understand why people do this, you know, these quick shortcuts to self-love and whatnot. Self-love is some shit you gotta work on. And I don't know if people realize that thinking you look good or not, using a barometer from everything else to instead of just being able to look in the mirror and talk to yourself. You know, I'm praying for you, praying for consistent healing, constant healing. But listen, we're here today with another episode. Oh, I'm glad I just thought about that. I was finna get into the show, but actually before I get into the show, drop your video ideas in the comment section. You can keep doing that. Continue to drop video ideas in the, even if I don't hit, like, let's say somebody drop a video idea, right? I might not hit it for 3 videos. I promise you though, if I tell you I'm going to do, like, talk about the subject, I'm going to talk about it. I would not tell you I'm going to talk about a topic that I'm not going to talk about. Like, if it's something that you tell me that you want me to talk about, and I know off rip, like, I'm not, like, if somebody went to the comment section like, bro, can you watch an NHL game? No. I'm not even going to waste your time. I'm going to be like, nah, I'm not watching hockey, bro. It's not going to happen. Or somebody like, yo, can you make a video about Baker Mayfield? No. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? I'm real with you. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't lie to you. Shout out to my guy, Abandoned Minds, man. Love that guy. But listen, should be a great episode today. It should be a great episode today because we are talking about Brock Purdy. Listen, like I said, bro, I still like Brock Purdy. I know I've been talking a lot of shit about the 49ers over the last couple of weeks, but I still fuck with Brock Purdy. I still like Brock Purdy. This is my thing. At what point in time do people stop caring too much? Like, I understand we listen to other people, and I'm not saying it's a problem with that because it's certain people out there who educated, who understand what they're talking about. And I'm not talking about educated in the school way. I'm talking about they educated on the topic that they are talking about. They have they can critically think about the situation. You know what I'm saying? It's so I get it. We listen to certain people, and certain people is great. But, you know, the overwhelming majority of the media, buddy, it's not great. It's not. And so I be looking at the media talk about Brock Purdy the way they talk about him. And, you know, the biggest thing in the media is they love to bring up stats real quick because that's the easiest thing for them to understand is stats. Even the fucking athletes who used to play the game like Richard Sherman is so addicted to stats. And I don't understand it because I done said multiple times, football is a sport that in certain instances, the stats just cannot and will not tell you the entire story. Stats don't even tell you the situation at hand. They just tell you what has happened. It don't tell you the order in which it happened. It don't tell you who it happened, like the people that was playing when it, like, it just tell you this dude got this type of stats. That's it. It don't explain the stats. It don't tell you how the guy got the stats, what he had to do to get the stats, who he was going up against to get the stats. Like, and I understand some people be like, well, he played against this team and it said, no. You're not understanding. I'm talking about the different schemes he had to face, the different type of double teams he might have had to face. Like, just think about all the different things from every player, every position in a football game. You think stats tell you the whole story about how that game just took? Like, come on, man. Stats, I say it all the time. Stats is a shortcut. But other than a shortcut, it's for people who don't watch the full fucking games. Point blank period. It's 2 shortcuts that have allowed the media to get on TV and just spew unnecessary, ridiculous rhetoric. Highlight tapes and stats. Bro, if they can run to the highlight film on YouTube after a game and then run to the Fox app to see the stats, they gravy. They gonna get on TV and tell you all type of bullshit the next day. But listen to me. Come here. You listening to somebody who done watched Brock Purdy every single game he done started in the NFL. And some of them analysts might have watched it also, but clearly, some of the shit that's coming out of their mouth. And I understand. You want to know? I don't understand this actually, because I was finna say I understand them wanting to be nice to Brock Purdy and yada yada, but I don't understand that because we don't afford that to Lamar Jackson. We don't afford that to the different African American quarterbacks, but even more so than just the African American quarterbacks who we don't afford this type of grace to. They be killing Josh Allen now. Now listen, Josh Allen does not get criticized nowhere near a Lamar Jackson. But come on, man. The way we criticize Lamar, Josh Allen for just not winning the games they supposed to win, and we see what they got to work with. We see what they have to do for their team to be great, and we could still put Brock Purdy on the same stage in the same sentence. Come on, man. How disrespectful is that? And all you have to do is watch the games to understand why Saint is not throwing Brock Purdy into the elite category. You know how many bad quarterbacks I done seen play great games? I wasn't calling Ryan Fitzpatrick an elite quarterback after some of the games he played. I didn't see nobody calling Zach Wilson elite after his big game this year. I don't see nobody calling Baker Mayfield elite, even though Baker got a lot of apologists, bro. I'm not going to lie. It's almost worse than the Justin Herbert apologists, because Baker actually done been to the playoffs twice and done won 2 games in the playoffs. Now, obviously, that's not all on Baker, but that is something on his resume. He helped with that. Justin Herbert don't have a resume to speak of at this moment, unless you want to just keep counting up the counting stats that don't matter. And that's another thing that's crazy to me. You know these stats don't matter because Justin Herbert put up crazy stats and they never seem to matter. But we still praise dudes for putting up gaudy stats. All I heard all year was Pat Mahomes has been bad this year. Pat Mahomes is back in the Super Bowl. This is why I get irritated with the sports media. I don't know if you saw one person on the sports media tell you that the Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs were going to be in the AFC Championship game and in the Super Bowl. I've been telling you for about 3 fucking months. Maybe that was more months than I'm thinking about, but at least 2 months I've been saying it's going to be between Lamar and Pat Mahomes, bro. Now, how did I see that early? How did I deduce that early? That, yeah, the Chiefs struggling, but it's going to come down to him and Lamar. Because I just watched the games. And this same thing that they love to do when they hating on players, like bring up the worst parts of the player's history. That's all I did with the Chiefs, except for I flipped it. I said to myself, I done seen the Chiefs at their worst. I done seen the Chiefs struggle. This is a team that can get through this. They still have Pat Mahomes. And when you get to the playoffs, that's a different type of Pat Mahomes. Not to mention, you still have to beat him. I don't care how bad they played during the season. You still got to beat him. People kept saying, oh, well, the playoffs not going to go through Arrowhead. You still got to beat him. And it's simple things like that. But then they'll use him. Like, the only time I ever see people like give Pat Mahomes unwavering support and praise is when they put him up against like Lamar Jackson, because people don't want to show Lamar his respect. So when you can use Pat Mahomes because it's hard to use a Josh Allen or a Joe Burrow to try to stifle Lamar's greatness now. His personal accomplishments is just outweighed the other two. So you can't really use them two, because you saying, well, Lamar and Josh both done been to an AFC championship, but Lamar got the hardware. Burrow done been to a Super Bowl, didn't win it, don't have hardware. The only person you can use to diminish Josh, Lamar, Burrow is Pat Mahomes. That's it. Why in God's name, knowing what I know about those quarterbacks and Josh Allen, and Pat Mahomes, would I then say, oh yeah, if he win this game, Brock Purdy and would you have put in Jimmy Garoppolo in the elite category if they had beaten Pat Mahomes in that Super Bowl? And that's before we even knew how great Pat Mahomes was. Would you have done that? This is my thing, bro. I understand people like Brock Purdy. I understand people love when he talk about how he broke and he lived with a friend on a friend's couch and yada, yada. I really get irritated with these stories about how broke Brock is, because Brock can afford an apartment, bro. I'm almost certain he a 2-year starter at this point. There's no way that he haven't got paid enough to, and I understand where he was drafted in the draft. And it's a real shame how the 49ers is going to hold Brock Purdy's contract when it come up in order to keep him on that team. And they're going to say everything that y'all say the haters are saying about Brock Purdy. When Brock Purdy come up to Tiny, you think they're going to pay him what they just paid Lamar Jackson? Do you think they're going to pay Brock Purdy what they just paid Herbert, Allen, what's my man's name? Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Pat Mahomes. You think he going to get paid what any of those dudes get paid? Because I don't think so. I think they're going to try to strong arm him. They're going to try to hold a man. Be like, well, the reason you have so much success, Brock, is because of what we put around you. If we have to pay you this, then we take away this part and we take away this part. And you're not going to be as successful. If I'm Brock Purdy, I say, well, go ahead and take them motherfuckers away. Because I want my bread, bitch. That's just personally what I would say. God forbid Brock Purdy win a Super Bowl. Then it's free game. In the sense of, you gonna pay me what I feel like I deserve. There's no taking a pay cut, no shit like that. I got the ring. Everything else is free game. All right. Because Brock Purdy's not, he not Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes have to worry about winning the Super Bowl every fucking year. And that's the real gift and a curse, I guess, for Pat Mahomes, is that he never can have a year off. I mean, that's the real shame. And I guess to an extent, Lamar, Burrow, and Allen is in the same category because we look at those as the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. So we expect every year that they're going to have a chance to win a Super Bowl, put their team in it. Some players can go through a whole season and not give a flying fuck about the record. Like, it's some players who get paid great money who can go through the whole season and not care about anything that happened in that season because they already done accomplished what they needed to accomplish. Now, I don't want to use Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill don't seem like the guy who really cares. He not dying to win a Super Bowl no more. Why? Because he done won that. Now he want his bread and he want to enjoy life. That's cool. Like, bro, could you imagine if Pat Mahomes could come into every season and feel like that? Like, oh my God, I got my Super Bowl. Now I can just chill the rest of my time. And then he can't. He won a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl this year. You want to know what what they're going to say next year going into next season? All right, Pat, what you going to do to win a Super Bowl this year? It never stops. It's a cyclical cycle in a sense, bro. You got to keep wanting to win a Super. That's why Lamar, Josh, and Joe Burrow, they tormented. They tormented to the day they retire because they know they're going up against that beast named Pat Mahomes and they going up against personal goals, bro. Like, they all want to win a Super Bowl. They all know that's an expectation for them. They all know they are the standards in the NFL as far as quarterback. So it's an ugly cycle. If I'm Brock Purdy, I don't even want to be put into that elite category. Not, okay, if I'm Brock Purdy, I don't want to be thrown into that. Because the pressures and the type of criticism that he going to start to receive, it's not going to be people saying they hating no more. It's going to be people saying, well, if he's an elite quarterback, he should be able to do yada, 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 yada. And my thing is, I understand we done seen half a season with Brock last year. We done seen a full season with Brock this year. I don't think Brock done shown anybody he can carry a team. He done shown you that he can do his job. He can make the plays he's supposed to make. He can make the reads he's supposed to make. It's like I said the other day, bro. The way people talk about the things Brock Purdy do good, because they don't say anything of part of his life. It's nothing special in his abilities. I ain't never heard nobody say, oh my God, the way Brock Purdy throw that thing. Like, oh my God, the accuracy when he throw that thing. Like, I never heard, the way they describe Lamar, Allen, Cam Newton, Pat Mahomes. You can always point to like physical traits that made them great. And even when you get off of the physical traits, you can dive into the other things that make them. All of them got high IQs. The highest IQ in football ever probably was Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. They have special characteristics that exceed the X's and O's, that jump off the sheets to you. Like, oh, this is what make him. Brock don't really do nothing that make you think, oh man, this guy's, but like, I don't think he read the field better than any quarterback I ever seen. And dude's running wide the fuck open. He better be able to read that. I don't think he got a strong arm. I don't think his arm is like special. He got this zip on. Like, look at Jordan Love play. You can clearly see, oh, this motherfucker possessed some physical gifts. I don't see that when I look at Brock Purdy, and that's no shade at Brock Purdy because he done made it further so far than Jordan Love. Now, granted, this is a team sport, so a lot of that got to do with the team, and he done had he almost lost to my boy, but nonetheless, it's no shade on Brock Purdy. I just don't see anything that jumps off the, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't sit here and honestly say after watching Brock, anything about him screams special, elite. But I'm not gonna shit on him if he get the job done. Like, see, that's my problem. We try to use, bro, stupid people who think they slick. They try to get you, bro. This is not a conversation that you should be having with Brock Purdy. But you would be having this conversation if Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow won a Super Bowl. They will say, they'll be like, well, we had this conversation. They already considered elite, bro. You would have this conversation if Dak Prescott won a Super Bowl. Then you would say, maybe this move Dak, because Dak is already on the fringe. Some people think he a great quarterback. Some people think he average. I ain't heard a soul say Brock Purdy is elite, except for and they ain't said he was elite, but you know, the way they be boosting him up on ESPN and Richard Sherman, obviously on Fox. But I haven't really heard people jump the broom basically and go all the way out on Brock Purdy. But we know it's a possibility. I just don't think this is the type of question you ask of a Brock. I'm like, bro, if he come out next season, it's tough, man, because the talent that he got around him. Let me tell. Okay, so this is why you listen to me, bro. Because I'm probably one of the only people running around telling you, I don't know if Joe Burrow is an elite quarterback. I don't know if Joe Burrow is as special as we say he is. Excuse me. Because Joe Burrow got the best supporting has had the best supporting cast in football when healthy for since he done touched down in the NFL. So I get it. I don't understand how great Joe Burrow is without all that talent around him. But I mean, when you look at Joe Burrow play, you can see the special things he had. You can see it's something there that is making these dudes better. I don't really see that when I look at Brock Purdy, and I like Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy done an amazing job for what he done been asked to do. But essentially what you asking me is, or essentially what I'm being told, in my opinion, is Lamar, Allen, Burrow, Pat could not do what Purdy is doing with what Purdy is doing it with. And I just don't agree. Now, this is the crazy part. I was told today, and hey, listen, if everything I said to you was a lie at this point, listen, I'm telling you the truth right now. Hey, I know when people be like, hey, listen, for real, dead ass. I'm being honest right here. Even though they've been telling you the truth the whole time, now they want you to really know. Like, I've been telling you the truth, but this is the truth. Listen, I had somebody today tell me, and I am not bullshitting with you, they don't think Brock Purdy. They don't think that, what's my man's name? Burrow. They don't think Burrow is an elite quarterback. They brought up his talent in college. They brought up his talent in the NFL. And they looked me clean in my motherfucking face and said, I don't know what's the difference between Brock Purdy and CJ Stroud. I don't know what's the difference between Brock Purdy and Joe Burrow. I don't know why I keep forgetting Joe Burrow's name. They said they didn't understand the difference between the two of them. It made me laugh at first because I'm going to always laugh when somebody disrespect any of the rival teams in my division. But then I'm going to kick into gear and I'm like, okay, let the football intelligence take over. I'm not willing to go that far. Point blank period. I told Buddy the same thing. I'm not going to go that far. I need evidence of Purdy outplaying Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow went down there to San Fran this year and put his foot in their ass. So it's very hard. I don't look, bro. I'm going to be completely honest with you. When you look at it, and this is probably the thing that's kind of starting to, I don't know if it's confusing me, bothering me. I don't know what it's doing to me, but to not be able to watch the film of somebody and be able to differentiate certain things in the film, I don't know, man. I think that's kind of confusing right now because like I said, I don't watch Brock Purdy. I've been watching the film of Brock Purdy all week so far because they playing the Super Bowl Saturday. I don't really know what people are seeing. that's making them say like Brock Purdy is special? Because when you say somebody is special, bro, I got to see it. It's got to jump off the tape. I don't know. I would love to sit down with somebody who is in love with Brock Purdy and everything he's doing, who think he's an elite quarterback, and really talk to them about what exactly is it that you think is elite about Brock Purdy. Because as good as I think he is, I don't see nothing elite in his game at all. Maybe you think his elite processing skills, but how many fucking quarterbacks do we say, oh, this dude got an elite processing skills? We just understand that they should understand how defenses work, and I understand you got quarterbacks who not great at those things, but those quarterbacks usually don't last long in the NFL, or they backups. If you want to treat Brock Purdy the way you treat Lamar, Burrow, Allen, Pat, why don't you judge him on the same fucking scale? Like, I understand we jump out our chairs. I understand white people jump out their chairs every time Josh Allen make a throw. And they're like, oh, I don't know if it's another player who could have made that throw. every fucking time Josh Allen make a throw, I don't know if it's another quarterback that could have made that throw. Even though I'm seeing on a frequent basis, Lamar, Burrow, Allen, Herbert, I'm seeing all type of quarterbacks make crazy throws and crazy plays on a week-to-week basis, bro. But every time my boy Allen on TV, I don't know if it's another quarterback that could have made that throw. When have you ever heard him say that shit about Purdy? I ain't heard once them say, any of the announcers say, I don't know, Brock Purdy the only person who can make that throw. I ain't seen it. That's all I'm saying. I ain't seen it. And I ain't come on here to shit on Brock, because I like Brock. And I'm happy for what Brock doing, bro. Do you understand how inspirational a story this is for Brock Purdy? To come from Mr. Irrelevant, or the last pick in the draft. And I only called him that because I don't remember the actual number for the last pick in the draft, because why would I ever care about that? Either way, somebody gonna be like, well, he supposed to be a football fan. Anyways, what Brock is doing is hella inspiring. I'm not a dipshit though. Bro, you want to know what I find funny? All year, I break down the sport a certain type of way, but it's going to be somebody who hate me for not telling you that Brock Purdy is an elite quarterback if he win a Super Bowl. When if I said that, that would go against everything I done said all year. Not just about Brock Purdy, about a lot of great quarterbacks, about greatness in general. Like, to hop on here and say, oh, he won the biggest prize. Bro, it's a team sport, bro. I keep saying that when it comes to these Super Bowls, and I understand how I talk about Pat Mahomes, but every time I talk about Pat Mahomes and his great Super Bowls, I don't fail to bring up the great defense. I don't fail to bring up Steve Spagnuolo. I don't fail to, I sometimes I leave Andy Reid out. I ain't gonna lie, but it ain't on purpose. Sometimes I do forget to say Andy Reid's name, but it ain't never on purpose. I think I even bring up the defense more than I bring up Andy Reid, but that's because I love the players, bro. I'm gonna always give players more credit than the coaches, even though I do respect the coaches. Which brings me into my next conversation. Don't worry, Brady. Don't worry, Brock. I'm coming back to you. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. What went wrong? The relationship. I was asked to talk about this, and I've been wanting to talk about this. Really just keep continuously diving into it. I don't really want to make one long ass video about it because there's so many different things that I like talking about throughout a show. But I'm always going to break. I wanted to cut a section off in the show to talk about it. But before I get to that, just know if you listening for Brock Purdy, bro, we're going to get back to Brock Purdy. We're not done talking about Brock Purdy. But I did have to. Oh, bro, I forgot I had this. But I did have to answer that immediate question about Brock Purdy. All right. So listen to me. What is this? Oh, my health care. Okay, so Bill Belichick didn't get hired. Bill Belichick did not get hired. Neither did Mike Vrabel, which I don't know why that's shocking to everybody, bro. Bill Belichick not getting a job is far more shocking to me than Mike Vrabel not getting a job. Like, yo, I understand. Yo, okay, so maybe this is my thing. When I'm looking at coaches and whatnot, their record does not mean you are a good head coach to me. Now, I know that's going to sound crazy to people. What do you mean, Saint? If they got a good record, he got to be a good head coach. Sometimes you could just be put in a great situation. And I understand people going to be like, well, you know, Tennessee was this before Verbs. I'm not taking nothing away from Mike Vrabel. And I do think Mike Vrabel is a good head coach. But, you know, I'll be watching the Pat McAfee show just dick guzzle Mike Vrabel. And my question would be, you're going to tell me culture. When I ask you what's Mike Vrabel's greatest thing, you're going to say the culture. But now my question is, aside from creating a great culture, what is his greatest strength as a head coach? You can't tell me he was a great offensive-minded coach. Why is that? Because they relied on Derrick Henry. When Derrick Henry didn't play good, they didn't play good. So that's one. Also, you trade away the receiver that made everything go. If you're a great offensive mind, you don't make that type of dumbass decision. On top of that, the defense, hella inconsistent. And I like players on the Tennessee defense. If this defense was coached better, I guarantee you would have heard more about the Titans defense. They had the players over there for a while to compete as one of the top defenses in the NFL. So, under Mike Vrabel, they were not otherworldly on offense. Derrick Henry was. They weren't otherworldly on defense. They weren't some special teams type of team. They had a rough culture. Outside of that, what the fuck is special about Mike Vrabel? So everybody who be saying, I don't know how Mike didn't get the job, Mike didn't get a job, I do. Bro, just because you think he had a winning record or he had a winning record in Tennessee, that don't necessarily make the motherfucker a great coach. Important tax information. Wait a minute, what is this? My bad, y'all. I'm reading over a piece of it's crazy that I cut the show. I didn't really cut the show, but I interrupted the show to read my employer provided health insurance offering coverage, because I get health coverage from FedEx. I'm gonna tell y'all what's crazy, because people know I work at FedEx. Y'all don't know which FedEx I work at, but it wouldn't be hard to figure it out with the psychopaths on the internet. I be seeing how hey, I saw this video of this white dude basically. And okay, so I didn't go crazy over the video because like he found a racist, like a dude was being hella racist online, saying a lot of crazy racist stuff. And he just wanted to prove like he could find the dude, and he found him, and he showed like all the steps he took to finding him. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. This is crazy. So, you know, after seeing that, but I'm not shocked that Verbs ain't get a job. And to be completely honest with you, if he don't get a job next year, I would not be shocked, bro. Listen, I really believe the new movement in the NFL is you either go young or you go offensive. So you either going to go with a young head coach, like a fresh head coach who ain't never coached nothing, who you think could be like a great kickoff to a great couple years or whatever. Or you're going to go with the young, inventive offensive guy. And it's very rare you're going to end up lucking up and get both of them in a defensive guy, which is what Seattle got. Young and the best defensive caller in football right now. So, and don't get it twisted, Zach Orr could end up being the next one. If the Ravens defense go out here and do what they did. Now, this is the thing. Matter of fact, I'm going to get to Zach Orr later on in the video, but I didn't see anything special that Mike Vrabel did for the Tennessee Titans. As a matter of fact, I think Derrick Henry deserved more credit for the success of the Titans than Mike Vrabel. But Mike Vrabel, I'm not taking nothing away from him. If I had to give somebody the second most credit, then it would probably be Verbs. Probably. Because Tannehill's little stretch of good play also helped them. Even though I don't think Tannehill is great or nothing like that. If he don't play as good as he played. And Mike Vrabel did make that switch from Marcus Mariota to him. I'm not telling you if Verbs don't deserve a job. I'm not telling you he's not a good head coach. What I'm telling you is people saying that he should have got, like, people shocked he didn't get a job. That's kind of crazy to me. Like, the motherfucker not Bill. Now, Bill not getting a job, you could say, that shocks me. And I would say, I guess so. I guess I understand that. But, you know, to me, one of the things that's killing Bill right now is that how that relationship ended with Tom Brady. And, you know, these two going to be linked the rest of their careers, the rest of their life, probably. Not no probably. They definitely going to be linked together. You're not going to talk about one without at some point in time bringing up the other one. But when I'm thinking about why Bill didn't end up, because this is not really just about why Bill didn't get hired for a new head coaching job. Because I actually think he have a better chance of getting a job next year than Mike Vrabel. Because Bill is actually a great defensive-minded head coach. Now, not only is he a great defensive-minded head coach, he is a great leader of men. And not only is he a great leader of men, the results have proven that. See, we keep saying that Mike Vrabel a great leader of men. What's the results, bro? That greatest playoff win was when they beat the Ravens as the number 1 seed. Literally, I said that a couple weeks ago, and one of his former players basically proved me right when he used that as his taunt. So, their greatest success was beating the Ravens in the first round. Whoop-de-fucking-do, or in the second round. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Aside from that, I'm off of verbs. Listen, to me, it's a lot of things that make Bill Belichick great. And I know a lot of people want to disrespect him nowadays because of how he done looked without Tom Brady. But I think what's happening to the Patriots, or what happened to the Patriots, is the same thing that's actually happening to the Warriors right now. And Bill do have to take on that responsibility. Now, I do think it's a little fucked that his coaching and his GMing is kind of being mixed together. Bill, the coach, is not bad, in my opinion. I understand what the record looked like over the last couple years. But I don't think Bill, the coach, is the problem. Bill, the GM, was a fucking problem. Like, Bill he missed on far too many drafts, on too many great players in the draft. He missed on, arrogance, ego, bad drafting. That's what fucked Bill. And at the end of the day, I don't know too many owners, and I don't know any owner, but you looking at billionaires who want the power, who tell you how this shit gonna go. This ain't Robert Kraft, who you done had a relationship with over the last couple years, bruh. These is other organizations who ain't finna kiss your rings on your way in the door. So, to me, Bill's biggest adjustment right now is going to have to be adjusting to this new generation. Bill gonna have to come into an organization as if he ain't never won a Super Bowl. And obviously that's impossible because this is one of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest coach of all time. I do not think Andy Reid is a greater head coach than Bill Belichick. A lot of people I've been seeing say that lately. I think that's insane to give Andy Reid greatest head coach over Bill when Andy still had quarterbacks, bro. No, he ain't always had a Pat Mahomes. But I can easily say, if you tell me Bill only won because of Tom, motherfucker, I can look you right in your face and tell you Andy only won because of Pat. Like, come on, bro. The insanity and some of the things that people say about Bill, but don't say about Andy is crazy to me. Like, crazy. In all honesty, you want to talk about a head coach that could put himself in a crazy... John Harbaugh won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. It could win one with Lamar Jackson. Them two completely different fucking quarterbacks. All right. That would be impressive. That would be monumental, I guess, as far as winning. But if we're going to use this excuse of, well, Bill couldn't have won without Brady, do you think Andy Reid is winning any of these chips without Pat Mahomes? I mean, come on. When have you seen an Andy Reid offense come into the season as depleted of talent on offense as he have this season? Andy Reid in the past is never going into a season with this little bit of talent, with really no real offensive weapons on offense. But he had Pat Mahomes. He got more faith in Pat Mahomes than anybody he done ever coached in his career. You see what a great quarterback do for a head coach? It make that head coach look otherworldly. That's why I've never uttered my mouth to say, I don't think I have, that Andy Reid is a better head coach than Bill Belichick, because I don't agree with that. Also, I understand the weak division that the Patriots played in for a long time. It's very easy to slip. Not just slip in the division, slip in the conference altogether because of the lack of talent you play in that division. See, that's one of my problems I done told y'all about the NFC. The Patriots is special in the sense that they didn't have to play the toughest competition on a year-to-year basis and still found a way to beat the toughest competition when they had to play the toughest competition. That's how I know that Pat Mahomes is different. They only beat like one playoff team this year, and they are in the Super Bowl. The greats is just different. That's how I know Bill is great. There's no question about it. And I understand in 2023, we don't like how he treat reporters and all this other type of shit, which y'all was fine with while they was winning. I always thought it was disrespectful. I would rather you not talk to a reporter than do what him and Pop was doing for a long time, especially since y'all love to call players out, but never was calling this dude out or holding him accountable. Either way, Bill Belichick, in my opinion, is still the greatest coach of all time. And if he could see, every time people talk about him driving Tom away, it's like, oh, he didn't have talent, yada, yada, yada. He was at the end of his road. Bro, Bill Belichick's mistake was not running Tom off. It was a mistake. Bill Belichick's mistake, the biggest mistake to me, was not self-evaluation. Because if Bill Belichick had a self-evaluated himself the way he evaluate all his players and whatnot and his coaches, he would have known he was the problem. The Patriots dynasty started to die because of lack of talent, not because Tom Brady wasn't good anymore. And that's the mistake that Bill made. Bill thought that it was just him, that he could coach anybody up. Go back and look at the offenses that Tom Brady made great. This is why I never give Josh McDaniels any type of credit, because if you look at those dink and dunk ass offenses, you can clearly see it's Tom Brady. It's not Josh. Josh McDaniels is calling up some of the most simple ass offenses and Tom Brady making these shits work. But people kept trying to give Josh McDaniels all the credit. That shit never made sense to me. That, to me, the Patriots was very clearly being coached by Bill and coached by Tom on the offense. It's no two ways around it. I hate it when people give Josh McDaniels all this, especially when we see how Josh done turned out as a head coach twice. Another reason that I think, other than the bad self-evaluation, bro, I don't remember what you call it, but who the type of person who keep all the yes men around them? All he do is keep the same people around him, and that shit worked when you had Brady. It ain't worked since, but you keep bringing in the same people on the rotation to help you out. Why haven't you brought in a new flair, new energy, new flavor in the organization to help you turn it? That's the problem. You let Bill Belichick sit down and get comfortable, and he never got uncomfortable. He never was okay with getting uncomfortable to try to create something new. So I don't feel bad for Bill Belichick, to be completely honest with you, because everything that's going to happen to him, he could have prevented. Like, Bill Belichick could have drafted better. Lamar Jackson could be a Patriot. Like, to me, you can give the Patriots excuses for not having a lot of different great quarterbacks on their team right now because of what they were with Brady. They could have drafted Lamar Jackson. He was sitting right there for them to draft. And they didn't take him. And I said going into that draft, I said the Patriots are going to draft Lamar Jackson. Because at that time, I had the utmost faith in Bill Belichick. I said to myself, that's the greatest coach of all time. He can coach up anybody. Now, the way these last couple years done played out, I still think he's the greatest coach of all time. But I do not think he can coach up anybody. And it's because of ego. I always say, look at Nick Saban. Look at how he was willing to evolve in college football to continue to win. Bill Belichick haven't been willing to make that adjustment. When you look at the Patriots offense, you don't see new innovative ideas. You don't see a good scheme. You see dinking and dunking and a lot of running. Unwilling to change his scheme because he cared more about his winning record, him not losing a lot. And you want to know what happened? Trying to protect that record and protect your resume. Your resume got stained up. It got dirty. Your win-loss record done been under 500 since Brady left. So everything that Bill basically held on to and wouldn't do in order to recreate a dynasty in New England, or at least give them a shot to be great again, is exactly why his ass is on up out of there. But please don't forget it started with Brady. And that's probably one of my biggest irritations with Bill. And it's probably the biggest reason I don't feel bad for Bill. Because it would be like Andy Reid saying, Pat, you're not as good as you used to be, bro. You're not the same quarterback. We can't win with you. It's time to move on. But in actuality, no, I'm still a great quarterback. But now I need talent to help me. I can no longer just take the talent that you give me and raise them all the way up and have them playing like Pro Bowlers. No. Now I need you to go get me some legitimate Pro Bowlers and I can do the rest. For some reason, the Patriots were never willing to do that. All the pay cuts that was taken over there, they never had the money to go get the talent for Tom Brady. As soon as Brady lost, they went and got all that talent for Mac Jones. Bad talent. Hunter Henry might have been a decent signing, but other than that, no real great talent, just a bunch of unnecessary spending. When you look, imagine if the Patriots had had a legitimate GM that was not the head coach. Imagine if they had a GM who did not have to answer to the head coach. Imagine if they had a GM that worked hand in hand with the head coach and was not overruled every time he tried to do something. Because that's what should have happened. Brady would still be a Patriot today, or would have retired a New England Patriot, would never have gone to the, because you can't say he was scared to be in the AFC. He had competed against great quarterbacks in the AFC, great teams in the AFC for the last couple years. He had played Peyton Manning. He played Pat Mahomes. He knew Lamar was over there. He knew Burrow. Well, he didn't know Burrow was coming yet, but Josh Allen was over there. It was already talent over there. Tom Brady left because there was no talent on his team. Go look at the team that he played with in that game against the Titans that they lost in that wild card game. Go look at the talent that Tom Brady had to work with on that side of the ball. I truly believe that Tom sat back at the end of that season and said, I'm never going through this again. I'm never going through this again. When I was at my lowest and I needed them to help me out, they didn't. If Tom ever had any type of feelings about Bill, that's when he had them. Because Tom was addicted to being the best. And he knew Bill was not doing his part in maintaining their greatness or helping Tom Brady become the best he could be or getting the most out of Tom Brady. I think Bill kept thinking that he could just outcoach not having talent. And at some point in time, this is why I always say, at some point in time, you can't just keep outcoaching. You cannot keep coaching up a lack of talent. Like, you can coach up players for a certain amount of time, but at some point in time, you just need to have talent. Okay? It's just how it goes. They would not go out and get Brady talent. And it's going to be somebody out there who said, well, they had this for him all these couple years. Bro, updating your resume means that you got to continue to, bro, I don't know what y'all don't understand about this sport. It's an ever turning wheel. If you don't improve, other people will. This is not one of them things where you could just sit back and chill and not know. Brady, a different beast. And if that was, listen, it take a lot to be able to coach a Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes, hopefully in the future, Josh Allen, Lamar, and Burrow. But it take a lot to coach a Peyton Manning, a Kobe Bryant, a Michael Jordan, a Steph Curry, a LeBron James, a Tiger Woods, even though he didn't really have a coach except for his pops. It take a lot to coach them type of play. A Bryce Harper, a Mike Trout, Mookie Betts. It's hard to coach those type of players because you know what they expect out of themselves and you know what they expect out of other people. And it could become a real burden trying to uphold the expectations of those legendary players. But as soon as that expectation was no longer being met on Bill's side, but that's when Tom Brady, and I remember that year, everybody talking about, obviously we remember the doofus that is Max Kellerman talking about Tom fell off a cliff. And we remember all the articles that was put out about Tom, everybody getting on sports network shows telling you that Tom was done. And then all he do is go win a Super Bowl in Tampa. And look who the talent he had on the side of the offensive ball. Look at all that talent he had on offense. So you mean to tell me all you had to go do was try to find a way to get talent and Brady would have still been able to win you a Super Bowl? That's why Bill Belichick ain't got a job. I firmly believe that. It's no way you watch Bill Belichick burn down this Patriots dynasty, because they had at least 2 more rings in them. You can't tell me they didn't have 2 more rings in them. Because Tom went and won a ring with the the Bucks. Now maybe that was the last ring, but I'm more prone to think that if he was still in New England with that crowd that he basically grew up in front of, with that feel, that atmosphere, they could have got 2 more. Bill quitting on that mission, Bill thinking like, it's not me, it's Tom. Bro, to me, that's the biggest sin a coach can make. To think that I'm doing my job, but this player ain't. And then this player leave and go win a Super Bowl with another team. But nobody really called Bill to the floor on that. Nobody really called Bill out for that. Nobody really go at Bill for that. Like, we say it, but then we go to the next topic. Oh, he's still the GOAT and yada yada. I don't even like arguing about the GOAT status with him right now, because obviously to me, he is the GOAT. But just because you the GOAT does not absolve you from terrible decision making. Terrible. Offensively for Tom Brady, really his last 3 years, what did you do for him? You just expected Tom Brady to continue to go out there and be great. If Tom Brady hated Bill, I would understand it. Because what did you do for me? You were the GM. You weren't just my head coach. You were the GM. You didn't make the trades that I needed you to make me stay in New England. You didn't sign the players. The dude passed up on so much offensive talent. Bro, it was a graph that I saw the other day of all the talent that Bill Belichick done passed up on in the draft. Bruh, go look at the talent. Just go to Google and type in all the talent that Bill Belichick passed on in the draft, or all the talent that the Patriots passed on in the draft with Bill. In some form, put it in like that. And look at all the players that Bill Belichick done passed on, bro. That could have been New England Patriots. But instead, he decided to trade away that draft pick or draft some player that he thought was going to be great. And to me, one of the biggest problems with some of the Patriots picks is they only play good with New England. They don't play good nowhere else. That's bad. But, hell, the Matt Judon was a great signing if your quarterback didn't need help. See, that's another thing. You're a defensive-minded coach who the GM, and you're making defensive signings on that defensive side of the ball. So you're going to make sure that you got your talent on that side of the ball, but you're not going to make sure Tom Brady. So even though you think you're the greatest head coach of all time, you're not going to tell yourself, I can do with less talent. I'm the greatest head coach of all time. I can't coach up this defense. But with Brady, you said he the greatest quarterback of all time. He can coach up no talent on offense. He'll figure it out. Do you see how cyclical this thing is? How ugly this thing is? And fans don't say much about it. But that split in the relationship of a Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, to me, that's what it was. When Bill stopped acknowledging, I need to do something for Brady. It's my job to help Brady. It's not just Brady's job to help himself. And yeah, if you done listen to the channel for a long time, that's one of my biggest things. Like, the quarterbacks ain't the only motherfuckers that's getting paid, bro. I know players and fans like to act like the only person that's getting paid big bread is the quarterback. That's just not the case, bro. A coach get fired, he's still making every fucking cent in that contract he signed, unless he go make a big contract somewhere else, and then I think it null and voids that contract. But that's crazy. Who is it? The Milwaukee Bucks is paying like 4 head coaches right now. And in a sense, I'm not too mad at that, because when you're a team and feel like you need to hear it. Now, I don't agree with them firing the dude they just fired, because that's just crazy. Dude's second in the Eastern Conference, bro. Especially if you feel like you lost your locker room because of Dame Lillard, bro. That's just crazy that a dude can come over to the team and get the head coach fired that quick. But Giannis would always have something to deal with that, because they're not firing a head coach if Giannis don't give him the go ahead. I know people like to believe that, oh no, bro, it's just the management, bro. The management definitely went to Giannis and was like, yo, we thinking about letting this dude go. How you feeling? And Giannis probably was like, fuck him. Get him out of here. Because there's no way you let. Now, if it's a Phil Jackson, somebody like that, obviously the coach, the player is not going to have as much say as, when you're dealing with a legendary coach. You're not going to just take opinions from, the players. But nonetheless, that line of Bill Belichick never realizing, okay, I need to put my ego to the side. I need to put my attitude and all this other shit that I feel. I need to put that aside and look at this situation from a GM perspective. Tom Brady is not washed. Tom Brady has a lot left in the tank. We don't have any talent around Tom. To me, when you think about how simple a fix the Patriots could have had, and everybody made excuses for him in the media. Oh, they ain't got cap space. Oh, they ain't got money. They could have figured some shit out. Every team that wants somebody, they find a way to make shit happen. As you go around the NFL and you look at all these teams with all these talented receivers, understand, all these motherfuckers were not first round picks. The Patriots could have had these dudes. All of these dudes weren't in the top 5, top 6, top 10 in the draft. The Patriots have wasted draft picks. And to me, one of the bigger wasted draft picks was picking Christian Gonzalez last year in the first round. I understand it's never hurt to get a good cornerback. This is not the Ravens, bro. You're not set at damn near every position where you can say to yourself, Kyle Hamilton fell to us. We know we need an offensive piece, but let's just take the best available player because Kyle Hamilton is a future star. This is not that, bro. You don't have a quarterback. The Ravens had a quarterback. Am I happy that the Ravens weren't at that time putting the necessary talent around Lamar Jackson? I wasn't, but they still had Lamar Jackson. The Patriots don't have the type of offensive player where you can say to yourself, you know what? We know we need some offensive players, but let's go take Christian. No, you're not in that situation. And because Bill never separated himself from that, it feel like the DC and the head coach after Tom left. And so listen, when it comes to Bill Belichick, as much as I like Bill and I do think he the GOAT, it's really hard to feel sorry for Bill. And it's really hard to not put more on Bill for how the Patriots ended, because that was an ugly way for a dynasty to end. It really was, in my opinion. And dynasties never end beautifully, to be honest with you. I mean, look at the Warriors, but it didn't have to end the way it ended. And the reason it ended the way it ended, I think, was because of Brady. I mean, not Brady. It was because of Pat Mahomes, good Lord, was because of Bill Belichick. By the way, Brady done got a lot of Botox in that face and plastic surgery in that face, probably, I'm thinking. Brady's starting to look fucking weird to me. I'm not going to lie to you. Maybe it's because he ain't got a helmet on no more and yada, yada, yada. Brady look real fucking weird to me, bro. Like he almost look like a Barbie doll or some shit like that, bro. It's crazy. You just got to see the picture. You got to see the video of him that I saw, bro. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with Brady's face? Nonetheless, I think that was the biggest reason that the Patriots dynasty came to an end. I hope it don't come down to that in Kansas City with Pat Mahomes, but man, they already showing signs of it. It didn't take the Patriots. It took the Patriots a little minute before they stopped giving Tom talent all around. It took the fucking Chiefs 2 Super Bowl wins, bro. And look at who he got out there with him right now. Once again, everybody taking pay cuts. So why can you not afford to put talent around Pat Mahomes? Not to mention, I do feel bad for Pat. I really do. Because when you look at how great this motherfucker is, they are never going to cut him a break in Kansas City. He just got to a Super Bowl twice. 1-1, could win this one. No real talent on the offensive side of the ball. They are going to continue to be cheap. It's no two ways around it, bro. They are going to continue to be cheap and spend as little as possible on the offensive side of the ball. As long as they got him a line and they got Isaiah Pacheco and Pat, I do not see them trying to build up his offensive weaponry or pay anybody to come. Like, if they can get DeAndre on a cheap deal, I can see it. If they can try to get a receiver who they still got some talent on a very cheap deal, I can see it. But they ain't signing no time. I saw a blog that said they're going to sign T. Higgins. In what fucking reality do you think they're going to spend that type of money on T. Higgins and they wouldn't spend it on Tyreek? And Tyreek going to be cheaper than what T. Higgins about to get on the open market, I believe. Because I think T. Higgins will probably walk away with the biggest contract of any receiver on the market. Now, I can't wait till Devontae Smith hit the market because I'm interested to see what he gonna pull, because I think Devontae Smith play like a number one, but he's not allowed to be a number one because A.J. Brown crying, bitch, and complain every time he don't get the football. So I'm very interested to see how that end up working out on in Philly, because if I were Devontae, as much as I love playing with my Alabama brethren, I'm not staying in Philly. A couple reasons. I don't like the Philadelphia crowd. I'm probably never going to like them morons. And as much as I like Sirianni, as Jalen Hurts is an ultimate professional, I'm not finna play alongside a receiver who get mad when I'm having a great day, bro. It's just not going to happen. I got 12 catches. We up by 15, 20 some points, and AJ going to the thing, throwing helmets and shit, talking about some bird, get me the ball. Yeah, I just can't do that, because when Devontae is watching AJ ball out, I've never once seen Devontae have a hissy fit on the sideline. I've never seen once Devontae throw a tantrum. So I really hope that Devontae get to a team where he ain't got to deal with that type of nonsense. But, you know, that's just my 2 cents on that. I was going to do a Klay Thompson. I was going to talk about Klay Thompson. I don't really got time to, because I got to get back to Brock Purdy. Klay Thompson will be talked about on the next video, though. A lot of Klay Thompson talk on that next video. But back to Brock Purdy before we close this out, because I wanted to do that section on Bill and Tom. Back to this Brock Purdy thing, though. If Brock Purdy do win this Super Bowl, I'm going to just think he one of the greatest, he a high-tier game manager. I'm going to say, man, that is a high tier. I don't really call people game managers most of the time, because I don't really address the people who not the elites. Like, they're a good quarterback. They're a decent quarterback. You know, I use above average, good to great. I use those terms. I don't think I usually use game manager. And I think the reason I don't use game manager is because, like I said, I was listening to somebody tell me everything that was great about Joe Burrow the other day. And I'm telling you, it sounded like they was describing Brock Purdy. They didn't say a single thing good about Joe Burrow that involved any type of physical great traits. Nothing that they said about him stood out in the sense like they was talking about Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Cam. Like, think about all the great quarterbacks who we like, bro, these motherfuckers, it's something about them that pop off the sheet. They didn't use none of them to describe Joe Burrow. And I stopped him mid-conversation, was like, bro, is you describing Joe Burrow or Brock Purdy, bro? Because it sounds like you're describing Alex Smith. Like, this don't sound like Joe Burrow you describing. And that's when he said, I don't know the difference between Brock Purdy and Joe Burrow. That shit was crazy. But that was crazy to me, that, like, listening to him describe Joe Burrow sounded to me like he was describing a game manager. And I'm like, bruh, you describing a game manager, brother. But, you know, once I found out that he think Joe Burrow is a game manager, it made sense. And I'm going to tell you something. This is a motherfucker who watched games like I watch games. Now, let me take that back. He got 3 teams that he'll watch a lot of, because he don't got no favorite team. He just like players. So he liked Tyreek because he a Florida boy. So he fucks with Tyreek. He fuck with Lamar. He really fuck with anybody from Florida because he like CJ Garner-Johnson also. But CJ he don't play the role that the other 2 play, so he ain't gonna come out and be like, I'm a Lion fan. But the other team he watch a lot is the Bengals, because he like Jamar Chase. And I guess he a LSU fan or something. Motherfucker don't sound like he like Joe Burrow too much. That's all I'm saying. But, you know, with the talent that Brock Purdy got at his disposal. Now, listen, I told you, the one thing that's done seemingly been able to get a hold of Pat Mahomes is when he just cannot keep up with the scoring of your, when you have way too much on offense than he has on his offense, you can get Pat Mahomes. And I'm saying that in a sense because I don't think some people realize what it means to have more on your offense than Pat Mahomes. You having a better scheme does not mean shit. You having a number 1 receiver does not mean shit. You having a great offensive play caller, a great running back, that don't mean nothing. When I tell you got to have better offensive weaponry around you than Pat Mahomes, what I'm saying is you got to have so much overwhelming talent. Pat Mahomes is going to have 2 drives, you imagine, where he don't score. Let's say we give him 5 drives. 2 of them he don't score on. Your offense need to be able to score on all 5 of them drives. That's exactly what the Bengals and the Bucks brought against him. It was just too much offensive talent. Now, I know ultimately that affect the defense. But what you got to understand is Pat Mahomes is looking at that saying to himself, okay, I got to go match that. I got to go match that. You got to get to the point where he can't match that. And the reality is it took overtime, but he couldn't match Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. And go look at those games. All those receivers made big. That's the craziest thing about the Bengals, bro. In both games against the Chiefs, they made big plays in that first one that they won. And they lost the second one, made big plays in that game also. I thought they was going to win the second one because of the plays they made in that game. I mean, the plays that they was making in that game was stupid. All 3 receivers had moments throughout the game where it was like, Jesus Christ, bro. This motherfucker right here. We can't guard him. That's literally the problem that the Bengals present to you as an offense. I understand that could be the problem that the 49ers present in a sense because Ayuk, Debo, McCaffrey, they are a high explosive offense in a different way than the Bengals. However, what the Bengals provided, what they did to the Chiefs defense was you're going to have a linebacker defending one of these fucking receivers, buddy. And then once you can't stack the box because you got to defend all these receivers, we got Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon can average 5 yards a carry on you. And you ain't winning if that happens. Because they could make the math harder on every level against the Chiefs than really any other team not named the Bucks could do. Especially now that Pat Mahomes done basically got into his groove. You need talent on the other side of the ball, bro. You cannot relying on one dude against the Chiefs is just not going to happen. Like, Brady was able to have AB, Gronk, Mike Evans. Like, he had Chris Godwin. You look at the 2 offenses that beat him. I don't care how you feel about the quarterbacks. Look at the talent that both quarterbacks had to work with. On top of that, we think both of them, one of them is the GOAT. The other one we consider a great quarterback. You put all that together, that's what it took to take out Pat Mahomes. I'm looking at the Chiefs. I mean, not the Chiefs. I'm looking at the 49ers, and yeah, they got that. I mean, to an extent. The difference for me is Christian McCaffrey is good, and maybe he have a good game against the Chiefs. I don't see the receivers going crazy against the Chiefs. Maybe that's my problem right now. And as much as I like Brandon Ayuk and Debo, I would not take neither one of them over Boyd, Higgins, or Chase. Now, Tyler Boyd is the only one because he in the back end of his prime now, which who knows if he really is on the back end of his prime. He the 3rd number 1 receiver on a fucking team with 3 number 1. So who really knows? Somebody got to get less catches. I understand people saying they would take Ayuk and Debo over him right now. I wouldn't. Because I don't believe outside of this offense, Debo can do. Bro, I saw somebody the other day compare Debo to Tyreek Hill. That's so disrespectful, bro. Yo, that is so disrespectful. I understand you might think both of them is short and whatnot. And I ain't taking nothing away from Debo. Debo do not run the routes that Tyreek Hill run. He does not make the catches that Tyreek Hill makes. Like, it's no part of his game at playing wide receiver that is better than Tyreek Hill. Like, I was irritated when people kept trying to say Tyreek Hill was only a slot receiver. That's how I knew people wasn't watching them Chiefs games, because he did not just play exclusively in the slot. But every time I see people compare Debo, because people be trying to say that Debo's comp is Tyreek. What? See, this is why I start to agree with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. You know, you got yourself a little bit of clout over there in San Francisco, you know. But then, you know, I don't know what's up with these San Fran fans, bro. Buddy not better than Tyreek. Tyreek putting up them numbers with Tua throwing him the ball. Tua and Purdy ain't that much different quarterbacks, in my opinion. I've been saying it all season. I mean, hell, The only reason I would take Tua over Purdy is because I'm an Alabama guy. But if you strip away my Alabama fandom, I'm taking Purdy over Tua because I don't like left-handed throwers of the football. Period. I just would never take a left-handed thrower. I wasn't a fan of Michael Vick. I just don't do the left hand, bro. I'm not Matt Lyon or the left-handed throwing shit is just, it's a whole dub. Also, wearing gloves on your hands while you throw like Kurt Warner, bro. I don't know how Kurt Warner was able to make a living out of that. God bless him. I remember Tom Brady wore a glove on his off throwing hand. I believe it was. Brady the GOAT though, so he could do whatever the fuck he wants. I haven't forgiven Kurt Warner for losing a Super Bowl with Larry Fitzgerald and Quan Bolden as receivers, bro. It's just sometimes when you, and I understand Bill, the Steelers had a great team that year. Mistakes lost him that Super Bowl. I don't like it when a great quarterback who we consider to be great get to the Super Bowl and lose. That's one. But I don't like it. I understand losses happen. What I don't understand is when you have more than enough talent on your offensive side of the ball. Like, I don't like it when people say Josh Allen got everything he need. Motherfucker, he got Stephon Diggs. Obviously, I ain't never liked it when they said that about Lamar because, motherfucker, he got a tight end. Kurt Warner had two great receivers, bro. Two all-pro receivers in Bolden and Larry Fitzgerald. And they lost the Super Bowl, bro. That bothers me because Larry never touched another one. Julio Jones and all that talent they had on the offensive side of the ball for the Falcons, and Matt Ryan blew it. 28-3. See, that shit bothers me, bro. Because them receivers, them running backs and whatnot, they don't know if they ever gonna get back to this moment because the game is so heavily predicated on the quarterback being great. So when you got these receivers and these great offensive groups that clearly make a team better or make the quarterback better, and the quarterback still shit the bed in the biggest moment, that shit be pissing me off. I ain't gonna lie to you. If Brock Purdy lose this game, I ain't gonna be too mad. Why? Because I don't look at Brock Purdy the way I look at Kurt Warner and all these other motherfuckers. Now, I do understand people will be pissed because they like, bro, you got all this talent. How can you not win this game? I get that. But again, my expectations are realistic. I'm not expecting Brock Purdy to go out there against this Chiefs defense and go stupid. However, Kyle Shanahan can draw up a good enough game plan. See, that's the beauty in Kyle Shanahan. He probably the best offensive play caller in football, or is he probably the best at setting up an offense. Like, he's going to get guys running wide open on your defense. It don't matter how good your defense is. However, you can still stifle his offense eventually. Like, if you got one of those defenses or a defensive coordinator who is great at adjustments in the second half, you'll be fine. You will be fine. Now, I do think Steve Spagnuolo's second half improvements were predicated more on a lot of mistakes by the Ravens, more so than great, second half adjustments. Like, I think Steve Spagnuolo's first half was better than the second half. But Steve Spagnuolo is a phenomenal defensive-minded head coach, and he understands what he need to get his dudes to do to win. And his guys understand what they need to do. I do think this is Chris Jones' last season with the Chiefs. I think he's going to go get a good payday from somebody else. If not for nothing else, then people want to take him off of the Chiefs. Even though it's not really been a good run for Chief players after they leave Kansas City. I mean, Chardavius Ward, he a decent player. I mean, he a good player. And obviously, Tyrann Mathieu, he was a first ballot Hall of Famer. But Tyrann was great before he got to Kansas City. I mean, you look at some of the other guys that they done had leave the team. They ain't really had that much success since leaving. Chris Jones will still be a great player when he leave, though, in my opinion. I think Chris Jones is like one of the rare players on their team that's like, because I don't think he coming back to Kansas City. I think it's a couple reasons why he ain't coming back to Kansas City. If I had to guess, Chris Jones probably going to end up on a team with warm weather in the offseason. And he going to get paid a hefty price to play there. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was Miami and he playing with no state income tax. Like, he done won 3 Super Bowls after this one. If they win, it's time for him as a defensive lineman. Chris Jones was good before the 2 Super. This is the reality. Chris Jones can win 5 Super Bowls. None of them shits is going to get him into the Hall of Fame no faster. His stats is now what he got to worry about. He got the Super Bowls. Now Chris Jones is only worried about stats. That's literally the only thing that he have to worry about. Putting up good enough stats to get him in the Super Bowl. Because, listen, at the position that he played, the Super Bowls matter for the quarterback. Not for all these other players. You get 1 Super Bowl as a player like Chris Jones, you set. You don't need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's why it's dudes who won all them Super Bowls with the Cowboys who ain't in the Hall of Fame yet, or who had to take a long time to get in there. Because the quarterback is who they care about the Super Bowls for the most. Everybody else, you get 1, it's free game for you. That's why I don't. So I done said this before on the show, but if anytime you hear me talking about players the same way, and you might say to yourself, well, this dude done won 3 Super Bowls, this dude done won 1, what the fuck? It's never going to be the quarterbacks. But every other player that I talk about in that same light is because I understand how hard it is to win a Super Bowl. That's 1. Plus, I understand and a Super Bowl only matters for the quarterback after you get 1. 2, 3, 4, 5 Super Bowls matter for quarterbacks. A receiver, a tight end, a defensive end, all them, bro, they going to read off them Super Bowls when they get to the Hall of Fame. But that ain't what's going to get them there. They're going to have to. Chris Jones going to need to touch 100 sacks. Like, it's a lot of different milestones that I think Chris Jones going to be competing for once he leave Kansas City, because 3 Super Bowls ain't getting Chris Jones into the Hall of Fame. Now, I'm not telling you he's not a Hall of Famer that don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. But what I'm telling you right now, if his career ended, he is not a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. And that's as great as Chris Jones done been as a player. Matter of fact, I need to go look at Chris Jones' numbers, bro. Matter of fact, table this talk and we'll bring it back up on the next episode. But with that being said, I appreciate you for joining me on another fucking episode of Kicking It with Saint. I appreciate you so much. So much, bro. We on that chase to 100 subscribers, bro. We can get there because we almost fucking there. Listen, I fuck with you. I love you. And I truly do appreciate you. You could be you could be anything in the world. Choose to be kind to somebody today. I fuck with you. I love you. You go out there and tell somebody else that. For some reason, I forgot how clean my intro usually is. Like, I done forgot what I say in my outro. And I don't know why. But with that being said, I fuck with you. I love you. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, you know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy. Scoop her up like I'm raking the something. You would think shawty ran track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.